Irishman Gary Wilson fell just one short of his career best, but his Surrey side battered themselves into a good position on the opening day of their LV County Championship match with Sussex at the Kia Oval. Graham Smith won the toss and batted on what looked to be a belter of a batting surface. Not that the South African was there for long, as he edged his 12th ball, delivered by James Anyon, to Ben Brown behind the stumps. Well, there has been, understandably, a lot of talk of Smith after his arrival at the Kia Oval. It has been his fellow left-handed opening partner Rory Burns who should have been making headlines so far. He scored an untroubled 100 in the draw match with Somerset at this ground last week, and he was soon looking good again in spite of the loss of his captain. Many of the players on these two sides have played for Surrey. There seems to be an understanding between the two counties, but Wilson is not one of them. Promoted to number 3 for the first time in his career after Aaron Haranath was hurt in the warm-up, he was largely shotless during the embryonic stages of his innings, but steadily grew in form and confidence. Surrey had worked hard to lose only one wicket in the morning, but a second soon came in the afternoon as Burns on 32 edged one of those former Surrey men, Chris Jordan, behind. With 34 overs on the board, Surrey found themselves a little stuck on just 63 for 2, but Wilson, with his eye now well set, just began to lift up the scoring rate. Indeed, the 27-year-old Northern Irishman recorded his half-century from his 117th delivery, 5 of which had brought him boundaries. This was not a first-day pitch to really help Monty Panesar very much, but for the most part he did his job of holding up one end, just occasionally giving Wilson something to hit. To be fair, against this tight attack, Wilson didn't miss out on too much. He'd now been joined by Vikram Solanki as Surrey had their most productive time of the day before tea. This couple for Solanki took the partnership between these two into 3 figures. It had not always been easy against one of the country's better attacks, but Surrey do look a very determined outfit under their new captain. A typically wristy shot from Solanki took him to the first 50 of his Surrey career, to add to the 119 times he got there for Worcestershire, a county he struck more than 16,000 first-class runs for. His 50 here had occupied 84 balls. He didn't last much longer, however. Just after tea, he gloved a delivery from Anyon to Brown to depart for 51 at 181 for 3. In spite of that, it still looked that Surrey's patient approach would be rewarded with a big first innings total, as Wilson, now joined by Xander de Bruyne, continued to excel in what was an inspired innings. The Irishman has plenty of international experience in both ODIs and T20s, but largely due to the time spent with his countrymen, he has had limited opportunities in the first-class game over the years. These boundaries saw him close in on just his second first-class ton. The first of those came 3 years ago against Leicestershire, so the delight he showed on reaching 3 figures was very understandable here. He got there off 207 balls and had struck 12 boundaries. He now had his career best of 125 in his sights, as he and de Bruyne added a further 66 for the 4th wicket before the second new ball was called for. It was all going rather nicely for the home side, who now just had to see out the last hour of the day to finish it well on top. But how that new cherry proved its worth with the visitors. 1 run away from matching his best, Wilson was beaten by a ball from Jordan and had to go LBW at 247 for 4. Stephen Davis impressed with 147 in his first innings of the summer, but here he'd made only 6 when he also saw the finger of death after being struck in front. Jason Roy had to get down from Derby to London after Haranath's injury in the nets, but having done that, he was out for a duck, bowled through the gate by Steve McGoffin. And Surrey then lost a 4th wicket in the space of 10 overs against a new ball, when de Bruyne was bang in front to Anyon for 31. It was then left to Gareth Batty and the returning Chris Tremlett to stop the rot before the close. With Batty making 19 and Tremlett 9, this pair saw their side pass 300, and they will look for additional batting points on the second morning. They'll resume on 301 for 7. Then it will be up to the Sussex batsmen to see if any of them can match the wonderful Wilson.